I'm going to go over how to download SnowPilot as well as use it. First thing you're going to want to do is on your desktop, you're going to want to create a folder, a SnowPilot folder, where we're going to put the software program. So here I go. And then we're going to go to the SnowPilot homepage, which is www.snowpilot.org, and we're going to download the newest program by, it says click here to download the newest version. Now, if you've never downloaded SnowPilot before, you're going to need to take this self-diagnostic test to make sure you've got Java installed. And then we're going to go down here where it says pcpilot.jar, because that's the program, that's the SnowPilot program. And we're going to download that and get it into the new folder we just made. If you have an older version, if you've been using SnowPilot and you have an older version, you're going to download this and then overwrite it and just put it in the exact same folder and overwrite your old version, and all your PITs and user preferences will be there. So let's download pcpilot. Each browser is a little different as to where it stores this stuff. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to put it inside my empty SnowPilot folder. Once it's in there, we can open it up. And this version is version 8, build 1145. And we can see that when we create SnowPilot, we get these DAT files and text files, and this is where all our snow pits and user info and preferences are stored. I'm going to make a shortcut here, drag it out to the desktop, and have that live next to the folder. So let's open it up and we'll get going. So the first thing we're going to want to do is create a user profile, and how we do that is go up here to select on the menu and go to add user. Give ourselves a username, usually some initials or a shortened version. I'll call myself OBP for Osama bin Pow. Give myself an email of obp@test.com. Just fill out your name. And this helps for if we need to get a hold of you, if any researchers do or anything. And then click this professional box. If you work for Ski Patrol or an Avalanche Center, you do this professionally. And then write down where you work. And then save it. And then the next box that opens is your user preferences, which is an important. We're going to make some important choices here, because this is going to decide how our graphs get displayed. First thing is depth of 0. Do you want 0 at the top of your pit graph or at the bottom? I like 0 at the bottom. If I was working in an area like Alaska or the Northwest where snow packs were really deep, I'd probably want 0 at the top, but for my sake I'm going to have it at the bottom. Depth in centimeters, units in Celsius. I'm in Montana, lat long. Elevation, I'm going to choose feet. And then down here, fracture category, we've got two choices of either fracture character, which is what a lot of other folks use in Canadians, or shear quality, such as quality 1, 2, and 3. I like shear quality. And then we have the hardness scale. We have two choices here, either linear or exponential. Linear scaling, here's an example of that, is where each hardness is equal to each other. Each one, you can see between knife and pencil and one finger, it's an equal distance. It's linear. So I like that because it's a little easier to see the difference between forefinger minus, forefinger plus. Kind of subtle differences in hardnesses come out in the graph really well. Exponential scaling looks like this, where the fist and forefinger are a little squeezed. It's sometimes a little harder to tell, like a fist plus and a forefinger minus, but certainly a lot of people like exponential scaling on their hardnesses, so you get to choose on that. Once we've made all our choices, we come up here to select, we save, and now we're good to go and we can start creating a pit. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on Add Pit. I get a window here. I'm going to give my pit a name. Osama bin Pow test 2. We can set the time and date when we dug the pit. Here we'll say I did it yesterday at 11 a.m. We'll save it. Here it is, 11 a.m. on December 1st. And I'll click this practice pit box since this is we're just making this up. This isn't a real pit. And we'll just start filling in the boxes. Bridge range at 9,600 feet. Aspect 270. Slope angle 35. Air temperature -5. Surface penetration of a foot is 25 centimeters and 100 feet of snow. And we'll say it is snowing lightly. Skies are mostly cloudy. Winds are moderate out of the west. Some previous wind loading and stability is fair. We had some cracking. We skied the slope. There were some ski tracks on the slope. And then we can add some test comments as well. Once we filled this out, we can go and take a look at what we just wrote here. We can go to the pit graph at any time, and this just is what it's going to look like when it's graphically represented. So we've got all our information up there. We can close it, and now we're ready to start entering in some of the layers. So I'll go to Layers, and the top depth we'll say was 100, and my first layer is between 100 and 75 centimeters. It's fist hardness. I had new snow at about 6 millimeters. And I'll add that layer. Second layer is between 75 and 50 centimeters. Forefinger, mixed forms, or actually let's say it was broken precip particles, 4 millimeters. We'll add that. And we'll say 50 to 48. We have a thin layer, a fist hardness surface hoar, which are quite big. They're at 7 millimeters. We'll add that. And then 48 to 25. Let's go with multiple hardness. And we'll go from one finger to pencil. We'll say that some mixed forms facets at 1 millimeter. And then we'll say 25 to the ground is one finger. Some depth hoar. That's 4, and we'll add that as well. Now if we need to change anything, we can come up here and re-edit any layers we want. And when we're done, we'll close out. And what it's going to do, if we haven't filled it in already, is it's saying, you have not selected your layer of greatest concern. So because I forgot, I'll say, oh, that was the thin surface hoar layer, and it was the bottom part of that is what was sliding. And then I can just save that. And then I can go to the pit, take a look again, and this is everything I entered so far. And this is my layer of greatest concern, is that little interface right there. So if everything looks good, we can close that, and we can start entering in some stability tests. The stability tests are right from a drop-down menu. We'll say I did a compression test, CTM 12 came out as a quality 1 at that 48 level. We can say that was clean. We'll add it. We'll say an extended column test next. ECTP quality 1. Say it broke at 8 also at 48. We'll add that as well. If we have a similar test, the same exact result, what we can do is find it up here in our test that we entered already, and then just click same result, and that'll just record it exactly that way a second time. Once we're happy with that, we close. We can go back to look at the pit graph. And there's our test. We had 2 ECTPs that were identical. There's our compression test, like what we're seeing here. We can close, and then if we have temperatures, we can add that as well. So we'll just go to the temperature profile. We'll say at 100 centimeters it was -6. We'll say at 70 centimeters it was -5. At 30 it was -2, and at 0 it was -1. Once again, we can close that, and then we can go to the pit graph and take a look at it, and this is what the temperature profile looks like. At any time, we can go back and we can either work on the layers or add something, write more in the comments. We're totally good. When we're done, we can save the changes. And then our pits live right here. This is the pit we just entered. There it is again. It lives on our hard drive on the computer. And what I'll do too sometimes is I'll save the pit image as a JPEG. And I'll save it here in my folder. And what that allows me to do is I can email it to someone, or I can post it on the web, and it just makes it really easy. So we can close out, can open it up again, and you can see the pit still there. In the pit folder, here's the JPEG we just saved. So it's all right there. It's a good idea to send things to the database because in the database then other people can look at it as well as researchers can use it. So it's really important to send your stuff to the database. How we do it is we go up to the select column here. We go to send data. Get a little box saying it's being sent. And when the box goes away, it means it's all been done. Obviously, you need to be hooked online for this to happen. And then we can go to the web database. And this is now the database where all the pits live. So here's we just made this test 2. We can open it up, and there's the pit we just made. Once we're in the database, if we're online, we can look at other people's pits. This is all the pits that have been entered for the this winter. You can also sort by state or country and see all the pits that have been entered. You can also go up here and you can search for pits. And that's a way if you actually are specifically looking for pits in a certain region over a certain date range or a certain slope, you can actually filter them out and get the pits that way, which can be pretty handy. So there you have it. That's how you create a pit. Over here in the SnowPilot News, we'll be putting new information as it comes out, like new versions. And once again, once you've downloaded it, if you're going to get a new version, you just throw it right into the same folder. It'll overwrite your old folder, and you'll be good to go. So you can write me with any questions. I'm here at dchabot@fs.fed.us. I'd be happy to answer anything, and I'm really excited you downloaded this and you'll be using it. And have a great, safe winter.